It's a grotesque abuse of power by the President of the United States. This is the kind of thing that goes on in non-democracies. I have not seen anything like this since October 20th, 1973, when President Nixon fired Archibald Cox, the Watergate special prosecutor.
The only winner, the only people who've got to be happy tonight are sitting in the Kremlin. This is the result of letting someone like Putin throw marbles on the stairs, banana peels on the sidewalk for American democracy, and not having the president stand up and say, you know what, I want this to stop.
President Trump say America first. Tonight, President Trump put himself first.
A little whiff of fascism.
Comey acted in an outrageous way. I think he should take a hard look at what he has done, and I think it would not be a bad thing for the American people if he did step down.
And do you believe that Jim Comey should resign, Senator Reid?
Of course.
Did you want to see him gone?
So it's absolutely true that Democrats have been very critical of James Comey, and many of us did call for his resignation.
It's hard to be a director of such an important institution when that trust is no longer there.
Can you tell us anything about the discussion?
No, it's classified and we can't tell you anything. All I can tell you is the FBI director has no credibility.
FBI director not to send the letter. Comey ignored the warning and sent that letter to lawmakers.
We even released internal FBI memos and interview notes. I may have missed this, but my 42 years here, I've never seen anything like that.
Comey can render his country now is to resign. Failing that, Jeff Sessions should invite him for a meeting after he's confirmed as Attorney General and ask for him to resign.
I agree with the Wall Street Journal. It's in the best interest of the country that he stepped down.
Joe, you're opined, frankly, publicly, about legal conduct. The president ought to fire Comey immediately, and he ought to initiate an investigation.
There needs to be restoration of the credibility of the FBI.
Yes.
I mean, that needed to be done.
And I think he should resign because he's damaged the FBI's reputation.
The faith of the people at the FBI is somewhat shaken in their leadership, and I think the faith of the country is in the director of the FBI is somewhat perilous. Given all of that, I think he ought to spend more time with his family.
The answer is that he resigns by midnight tonight, or early enough that the world can know that
maybe he's not in the right job.
James Comey, who's had selective disclosure disease, had caught up with him. And that's because he himself put his job at risk. He's the one that, leading the FBI, failed to move on issues that were so clear. Why was there not an investigation that came to a conclusion other than him acting as the Attorney General, which was not his job, regarding the email servers? We go back to that. I go back even further than that, Sean. What about the fake investigation that the FBI engaged in with those IRS cases? I litigated those cases, and I had some of our clients participating in those, that so-called FBI investigation. It was a put-up. And this is, James Comey, and this is without disrespect to the FBI, because the FBI does do great work. But this director of the FBI should have been fired, has been fired, and asked for it himself. I've been saying it for a year. The problem here is he decided he was going to become the judge and jury in these matters, and that was not the role of the FBI director.
He was the FBI director, and he acted like he was the Attorney General, even the President of the United States. He violated every known rule of the Department of Justice about how an investigator is supposed to conduct himself. And for that, he usurped the powers of the Attorney General on July 5th, 2016. And from there on in, he was no longer able to lead the FBI. And his testimony last week before the Senate was viewed by many as so bizarre, so self-indulgent, so self-righteous, that many people believed he had really lost it and could no longer effectively function as the leader of the FBI, and they were absolutely correct. When he said that Hillary Clinton was in fact guilty, but that no reasonable prosecutor would prosecute her, and when he misspoke about what the law was of the statute that he alleged she might have violated, he usurped the function of the Attorney General. He took over the powers that did not belong to him. He was unauthorized to do that. He was out of control.
Premiums under Obamacare went up an average of 24% across the country this year. The average number of insurers in each marketplace has dropped from 5.9 in 2015 to 3.9 now. Professor Gruber, in Iowa, there is now only one insurance company left in all but 5 counties in Iowa, and they just announced, Medica, that they're thinking of dropping out, which means there'd be no insurance companies for the marketplace in all but 5 counties in Iowa.
Look, and whose fault is this? Before President Trump was elected, there were no counties in America that did not have an insurer. Since President Trump's been elected and massively...
Wait. You're going to blame the problems with Obamacare on President Trump?
He blamed it all on the insurers because... But they guessed wrong. Really, actually, the government told them to consider that they would get a lot more healthier, younger people than they actually got in any single year that this program's been in effect. He said Trump stopped the ads. Trump stopped the ads on the 26th of January, and the end of the enrollment period was the 31st. Really, the problems of Obamacare are going to be solved by 4 days worth of TV ads. Really? He also said the executive order said not to enforce the individual mandate, and that caused problems, disruption in the force. Well, President Obama delayed the individual mandate for 2 years and the employer mandate for a year. And finally, he said, he talked about the cost-sharing payments, and that caused distress among the insurance companies. Well, the insurance companies are getting the cost-sharing payments despite the fact that last year a federal judge declared them illegal. President Trump said, I'll continue to pay them until the issue is resolved. Last October, Dr. Gruber said the program is working exactly as we designed it. Now, it was designed, as he said earlier, with the stupidity of the American people built into their calculations of how to sell it.
You may be right. I may be crazy.
Have you evaluated the president face-to-face?
No, I haven't, but I don't need to evaluate the president face-to-face.
How do you not need to evaluate someone if you're going to diagnose their mental health?
And yes, this man has been erratic from day one, but it has gotten worse. He has, as Douglas Brinkley said, a confused mental state that has gotten worse. We're not diagnosing anything, but there is no doubt that there is something impacting his thought process.
Something is wrong with him. The Republican Party is enabling the mental illness on a daily basis.
We're oddly influential with the guy who wants to kill us.
So I have some predictions to make. 2020, Trump wins again. Then he turns it over in 2024 and 2028 to Vice President Pence. Then 32, 36, and let's say 40. Give her a third term. Ivanka takes over because she's so popular. And then in 44, she turns it over to now 10-year-old Barron Trump. Barron takes it up through 52. They hand it over to the Kushner kids. Now we're up to 2060, and we give it back to the Dems just to take a rest. And I guess in 2060, Hillary will still be.
They're coming to take me away, ha-ha. They're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha. To the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time. And I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean white coats. And they're coming to take me away, ha-ha.
What do you know from funny, you